have to pay. So we've done a liaison with the Dark Sky organisation. They've gone, yes, we think that would be a really great area. Yes, we think this is a really good core area and peripheral area. And now we have to pay money in order to start the process. So we're seeking your support so that when we start the process, we know we're not going to hit a roadblock straight away.
Yep. Any further questions, Tony? Councillor Volwella.
Yes. Just that last point you mentioned about paying, what sort of sums are you using?
It's $250, and OACA going forward, that's our thing. We're pushing this, we're sorting this. The 250 fee is ours to pay. We're not requesting any finances from the Clutha District Council. We're just requesting support with the policy and education. So, and the education, I would see that feeding into your existing personnel who work already in schools.
Awareness, by the looks of things, that's the questions. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate your assistance.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Now, I'm going to take a blinding guess. Gregory. Yes, it is Gregory. So welcome, Gregory. So team, we're back up to the start because Gregory's now arrived. So that is page 201 of our other folder. Back to the sort of the main folder. Welcome, Gregory. Floor's yours.
Yeah, my apologies. My plane was a little bit late, and I've been parked at the airport for a week, and the tree above dropped all over me. So I just stopped to clean the windows. But look, I'd like to start before I put forward my side of things. I'd like to compliment the Clutha District Council on its engagement over this 10-year planning process. I've participated in 4 local body consultations in the last 12 months, and in my personal experience, the engagement by the council on this occasion has been the best yet by far. What I'll do is I'll kind of, after I read it out, I know it's nice to kind of to ad lib, but then I might miss something. So basically what I'm submitting now is to oppose any increase in the council's debt ceiling, because I see debt as a credit card, plastic fantastic until the statement arrives. It kicks the responsibility can down the road that someone else may have to pick up. It's not a costless way of apportioning value over the life cycle of the asset once interest is added. For instance, $285 million, say if that was a future council debt, with an interest rate of a little over 5% would come to $15 million a year. Why not invest $15 million a year now into Three Waters infrastructure if this is why we're borrowing, and pay cash? Also, going into debt assumes wise expenditure, and local and indeed central government doesn't have a great record of building affordable fit-for-purpose infrastructure. So I ask that council only invests, additionally I ask that the council only invests in proven solutions and materials. I also ask that the council needs to push back against any government agenda that impoverishes their community. So I'm here for questions.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Gregory. Questions, Councillor Fudge.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that, Gregory. Have you sent anything to the local MPs about the rates rise, the Three Waters local government?
No, I would like to. I think one of the problems you sort of have is that there's so many consultations going on. There's this consultation. There's been 2 in the last 12 months, approximately, with Otago Regional Council. Firstly, it was on water, and then there was their 10-year plan. So it's just, I think that's a great idea, and I take that as an encouragement to push to send a letter or at least an email to the local MP. Thank you.
Yes, because that would all help us. Everybody else does it as well. Thank you.
Gregory, thank you for your considered opinion. The challenge, if we just look at year 1, 80% of the rate increase is Three Waters. We don't do it, we go to court, we come back and do it in a weaker position. And I hate debt. the thought to be sitting here with the challenges on debt and rates that we have is abhorrent to me. But that's our reality. At the moment, if we didn't do debt, we were looking in year one at 41%. And the carnage that that would have created in our communities. So the two levers we have is debt. Pressure release valve on the debt means that we could contain the rate rises. I get it that you don't, and we don't want debt, but knowing that there is Hobson's choice in this, am I to take it that you would have rather we'd gone out at the 41%, or now knowing the dichotomy that we are in, you would actually, oh yeah, you better pull back on one or you'll tip up the other. Because we only have those two levers. That's it.
I would ask the council as well to look at, like efficiencies in other areas. So I sort of think that could be looked at. So that obviously wouldn't pay the entire bill. But the sad thing, and I said I don't want rate rises, but it's really a case of whether you bite the bullet early or late. So if by not biting the bullet early, we're going to pay more for the same assets because of the once the interest cost is fed into it. So I guess my three levers would be that the council takes a rigorous look at everything it spends money on to try and cut costs. Secondly, it looks to try and spread the infrastructure, improvements over a longer period. And thirdly, if there has to be a rate rise, I think it's just not fair for future generations if it takes that long. People like to sort of hide the reality of the situation by increasing the debt, because eventually we'll get to the same point. We'll get those same big rate rises. If there's no alternative, but it's just mean we'll actually be paying more in the long run. That's the sad reality of it. I think there's another advantage that, from a ratepayer's perspective, that after, the wailing, the gnashing of the teeth and the cutting of the wrists is over, people will really realise the pressure that the council and the district is under, and then we might get more engagement, like with local MPs and things like that, in terms of additional requirements. Like in 2017, the previous government introduced well-being and other additional responsibilities onto council. I think that a cynical person might have been it was because they were planning to take away the water infrastructure and the council's planning responsibilities 6 years down the track. So it was just sort of careful planning on their part. But these are things that could be reduced, and by being upfront with ourselves, then people are more likely to be engaged. It's not kind of like a slow drip. It's a case of it.
If I could drill down just a wee bit more, because I'm interested in your analysis. At the moment we have, we say 11, but it's 12 water plants, sewage plants. 16 water plants, counting the water scheme. So we are constantly running into the consents, and it's to comply with the consents that triggers the project, that triggers the cost. And it's unavoidable. I'm not an environmentalist. I would probably, if it was just left up to me, sidestep it. Knowing the imperatives that we have, can you explain it? Have to make the consents, consequently have to do the projects, and the projects incur the costs. Over the next 10 years, there's 611 million of capex and opex for 3 waters. Unavoidable, and that's only the estimate. By the time the tender comes in, it'll be totally different. That equates to real rugged figures if we only use Urban for the 3 waters, $100,000 each rateable unit that we have in the Clutha district. How do we do it?
I don't think it can be done. I think that the challenge is to sort of get a consensus of people, like if the Clutha District Council push back, you know, maybe the local government association will be helpful, but if not, you know, on their own, I think councils around the country have to say, well, you know, this is just too much, and something's got to change. I think sometimes the consenting process is, you know, it's becoming more and more laborious, and as you say, sometimes it just eats up a big slice that you should be spent on the infrastructure. So maybe that's one area that needs to be simplified. I think the other thing too is that surely in terms of you know, of Three Waters projects, for example, there must be, you know, there must be experience around the country that can be used to come up with like simpler systems, and that should be pre-approved. Like I think, like sometimes with some building plans, you know, if it's done by a national body, they get all the engineering requirements done, so that if someone wants to build a particular design, you can just hand it into your council and you've got all the boxes ticked. We need to find ways of reducing the costs of, particularly, you know, of you know, unnecessary compliance.
So rest assured, Yella, for the last 5 years, we've fought hammer and nail with whatever government of the time has been to try and get the best deal with the Clutha District and the wide. Yeah, we've got to look at the nation's well-being as well. But we are doing that. And I think that that's the message that we've got to get out, is that it's still there. But I take on point in where you're coming from, but I hope you appreciate where we're coming from. I should get back to questions. I digress. You've got a name, and it's Councillor McAtamaney.
Thank you, Your Worship, for this time today. Yeah, thanks, Greg. Just coming back to one of your first points about rates versus debt. Do you not think it's, for the stuff that we do have to do, that we do have to borrow, do you not think it's fair that the future generations also pay for this infrastructure rebuilds that we have to do, rather than the ratepayers paying for it now?
Well, there's two ways of looking at it. You could sort of say that there's a lot of infrastructure that's already in the community that previous generations have paid for. There's a kind of like a principle, I sort of think in life, like in family life, that parents sacrifice, you know, for the benefit of their children, that is the future generation. So I think there's a kind of a general principle that you try and pay something forward into the community. The other aspect of it, as I say, is it's not quite so such a great idea once you factor the debt into it. So in this council, I'll tell you, I've just flown down from Wellington today, and I was based permanently in Wellington, and I'll tell you, I've had a discussion with you previously, just casually at another meeting, you know, where you sort of said, well, you know, maybe people aren't really concerned about these, you know, how much is, you know, you attended that meeting kindly up at the Rosebank, and you said, well, maybe it's just this 100 people that are concerned about rate rises and everybody else is happy to pay for it. Well, I can only speak for myself, but I used to be based and be a property owner in the North Island, and one of the reasons that drew me down here is because the rates were lower. Because I thought, well, if you save $1,000 over a year, over 20 years, that's $20,000. It impressed me that it just seemed to be that in the Otago region, you know, up till recently, and this district was more well managed than other places in the country. So it influenced my decision to be here.
That's an important point, I think, Gregory, because over the last 15 years, we've gone from one of the highest rated in New Zealand to the 7th lowest by taxpayer union scale. So you're saying that was a real fundamental reason why you came down? Well, the cheapness of the rates. I
mean, it was an influencing factor. That's, you know, because it's all, you know, like in business. I mean, Councillor McAtamaney would sort of know, you know, that in business, like in farming and stuff, like at the moment, for instance, there's been a huge drop in farming returns. So you have to, in business, you have to kind of budget You have to try and keep your costs as low as possible, because if your profit goes up, well, that's not a problem. But if your costs are above what you can earn, well, then it's disaster. So cost control is critical, especially like in rurally based industries where you can't tell the Chinese the cost of production and ask for a margin. You've just got to take what they give you.
So further questions, team. Councillor Martin, followed by Councillor Mackey.
Gregory, thank you for attending this evening. So the lower rates encouraged you to come down here. That would be back when there was a 4% rates cap imposed on the district, and then now that instead of going with a 4% rate cap, we've gone with inflation, we might not be in the pickle that we're in.
Well, like in hindsight, I think that's valid. I mean, I thank the Mayor for his commitment to keeping rates down. And so I'm not saying that, so I'm not going to disparage this council for what it has done. But as I say, I think the thrust of my spoken submission is, that you can't sort of hide your costs by putting it on the credit card. So in retrospect, maybe the rates should have been higher than they have been. But I certainly, I'm grateful for the commitment that this council had to keeping rates down.
Councillor Mackey.
Thank you, Gregory. I really agree with what you were saying. If you were had the ability to allocate all the rate money that we take in, what 4 things would you put that money into?
I think initially it's got to be like your 3 waters, like your drinking water, your sewage and drainage. Drainage can kind of fall off the cliff a little bit, but obviously, because often when drains are done, well, then they just keep working, hopefully. In terms of especially in an area that's sort of low lying. But then the 4th one is roads. I think everything else above that is really a luxury. It's interesting. Mr. Hill sort of mentioned to me, he said to me, I had the pleasure of talking to him at a meeting in Kaka Point, and he explained to me that even if we cut back really tightly on, things like, community services, maybe like swimming pools and libraries and stuff, it won't make a huge difference. But I think if cuts were made, well, it shows a commitment, because I think a lot of these things really are, they really are nice to haves, after you've paid for those 4 services. And the other good thing about it, we don't spend too much on swimming pools. We have a society that's committed to swimmable, rivers and lakes. So that was always a default.
Any further questions, team? If not, Gregory, look, thank you for your time. Thank you for the thought you put into it. Appreciate your
Thank you.
team. Where are we now? Oh, we're with Vicky and Mary. So back to our other book on page 21. Welcome, Vicky and Mary. Thank you. 20 and I've got it wrong. Which one? Yeah, but
Community book.
community funding. Page. Tricky when it's number 1. Welcome, number 1. The floor's yours.
Got it. Kia ora koutou, I'm Vicky Neve and I'm the principal at Backworth Primary School, and I'm also the co-lead for the Big River Kahui Ako. And this is Mary.
Mary Rowe, I'm co-lead with Vicky of the Big River Kahui Ako, which is our community of schools in Valtrusa and the surrounding areas.
And we're here today to talk to you about our submission for support for our counsellor in schools. As you're probably aware, in today's changing society, the need for a counsellor for our children is growing, but our current education and health system has no capacity. So several years ago, our schools got together and we have formed, through our Kahui Ako, we provide a counsellor in schools. But it is a lot of money, it's ongoing, and we are hoping you will see fit to continue to support our program, which is very, very valuable to our schools. And it's a growing need.
It is growing need. Primary schools don't have counsellors by any right at all. There have, in some parts of the country, there are small pockets that do have them, but not South Otago. And we saw the need that arose partially with COVID, but I think it was already developing. And that has led us into continuing since then. But every year is a new funding round. So every year we try to gather the money to support the counsellor. We have local sponsors who are the ones who provide the car that you'll see the counsellor driving around in and provide the maintenance and the insurance. We recently had a thank you gathering with them, and they're keen to see the service extended. But at this stage, we really just want to have the funding that we can carry on supporting the one counsellor we have.
So we have some recent data to share with you that wasn't in the report. Of the 11 schools in the Kahui Ako who the council supports, last year 10 of them were actively involved with the counsellor. The 11th school fortunately didn't have a need at that stage, but the capacity is there for them if they need it. We supported 18.4% of our students. 61 of them were between 6 and 10 years old, and 18 were between 11 and 13-year-olds. So it's a range across our schools. The referrals were made by schools, families, and other external agencies, for example, GPs and other health professionals. There's no capacity for our students to get counselling in South Otago apart from through schools. So it's a very important service. And our issues have included emotional regulation, grief and loss, anxiety, family harm, and trauma. Our schools are visited on a fortnightly timetable, but we have a bit of flexibility. So if something happens within the school community, as principals, we work together and we divert the counsellor to where that's needed most. So we work together and we're very proactive to make sure the service is where it needs to be. Yeah,
That's us.
that's us. Any questions?
Well done, team. Questions, please. Councillor Fletcher.
Thank you, ladies. On the first page of your submission, you've got funds being sought, 17,250, and then when you go down further to your written one on page, bear with me a second, page 6, yes, it is $15,000 being sought. If I could just have clarification of that, please.
One was GST inclusive, one exclusive, and we'll blame that on Vicky writing that with the COVID brain, sorry.
Okay, and the other question is, we have no things of your banking or anything, so all the other ones have to supply that, with what's in the bank, what your money's come.
Okay, we can provide that. This year, when Mary and I took over as Kahui Ako co-leads, the finances moved from South Otago to Buckley Primary School. So we're still just tidying up the accounts, but that's easy for us to supply, that's not a problem.
That'd be great if we could send that through. Thank you very much.
Further questions, team? Comprehensive report you gave us. You wore them out.
Sure.
Thank you very much for that. Thanks for the support you're giving to the district.
We appreciate your support too, thank you.
Thank you. Next one, Seth Kimley. Welcome, Seth. So, Seth, we are back to the other book on page 198. Welcome, the floor is yours.
Oh, thanks. Hi, everybody. I'm Seth Kinlan. I live in Lawrence, and I'm here to talk in support of the Topeka Goldfield Museum and Visitor Center, where I volunteer on occasion. I'm not native-born Kiwi, as you can probably tell from my accent, but I ended up here through an unlikely series of career choices, and I really fell in love with New Zealand and with the state of being Kiwi. And I think part of the state of being a Kiwi is like the can-do attitude and just the history of making the impossible possible. And I look around at this region especially, and I just think of all the Kiwi blokes and women who came before us all and built and just everything that we have here today. And as I volunteer at the museum, I have seen firsthand both what a little dedication and care for a collection of old stuff can do for those artifacts of our history. And I've also seen what neglect can do to it. I mean, the physical stuff it degrades if you don't care for it. And so I would hate for us all to say, well, we'll take a break from preserving our heritage for a while, and then sort of looking back in a couple of years and think, oh boy, I wish we'd gone out and just sort of dusted some of that stuff off, or continued to care for it so that the people after us can continue to enjoy all that rich history that we have. I think that's it.
Thank you. Questions for Seth?
I hope not, because I probably don't have answers.
Well, actually, you've answered it. You told it from the
Yeah,
heart.
cool.
And
Thanks.
I want to thank you for your volunteer work that you give to your community. So thank you. All the best. Can I just check before we go to the next one? There seems to be the room temperature's dropped about 10 degrees. Is the heater back on? So that's good. Everything's good? Everyone's fine? Yes, good. So, Roger, back to the other book. We're doing gear changes all over the place, but we're back to page 291. Welcome, Roger.
Thank you, Your Worship. Good evening, everyone. For those that don't know me, I'm Roger Cotton, and I'm a member of the Lawrence Tuapeka community, and I'm here today to speak on behalf of the Lawrence Chinese Camp Charitable Trust. First thing I'd like to do is offer an apology from Denise Ming, our chairperson, who unfortunately couldn't be here today. So the Lawrence Chinese Camp is probably the most significant Chinese heritage site in Otago, if not New Zealand. And we are here today and I'm speaking in support of asking the council to waive its building consent fees. So the Chinese Camp project is about a $3.5 million project. Currently, we have obtained resource consent, which happened on December last year, and we're in the process of going through the building consent, which we hope to lodge soon. The money we've spent to date on these consents is around about $180,000. So we've been told by Origin, our consultants, that the building consent process will be a cost in the order of $10,000. So we are asking council to waive that fee and are inviting you to invest in a community project that is real and happening by assisting us in this endeavour that will have positive outcomes for our community. We can talk about education, we can talk about tourism, we can talk about museum purposes, which are all things that will come and benefit from this project. Also there will be employment opportunities as well. There's going to be obviously a museum curator, there's going to be cleaners, there's going to be tour guides and that sort of thing. So this project is real, as I said before, it is happening, and we please ask you for your assistance in helping us achieve this. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Roger. Questions, please take. Councillor Fudge.
Thank you for your submission. So will you be charging an entrance fee once that is up and running?
That is the plan.
Thank you.
Councillor Barrett, followed by Phelps.
The 180,000, how was that funded?
Just through Community Trust of Otago, other funders like that, poll tax.
Okay.
Our own fundraising ventures like Quiz Nights. Just a team working really hard to achieve that. So, that's right.
Second question, has the Clutha Development been involved in this project?
We have had meetings with them, yes.
Thank you.
Councillor Phelps.
Thank you for your presentation. I just have a question on the $3.5 million restoration project is actually restoring or building new. Like, I'm sorry to be ignorant, but
So it's a restoration and renovation project. So currently we have 3 buildings on site, the Empire Hotel, which we intend to be a museum and visitor centre. We have a set of stables. These were built around the 1880s, 1882 in fact, and that's where we're going to have our toilet block. And currently there's the Joss House that council did assist with when we shifted it back on site, and it's sort of a meeting place, like a traditional Joss House. It's a Poon Wha Joss House, which is quite a rare one. We've had people from Wellington, the Poon Wha people come and visit, and that is, as I said, it's quite a rare thing in New Zealand, to be honest. So we have 3 buildings, yes, and it's all about restoration and renovation of those. There is the possibility of new buildings down the track, but this is the first and foremost thing we must do.
Councillor McAtamaney.
Yeah, Roger, I thought I heard you say poll tax. I thought we hadn't had one of them for 100 years.
That's right, we haven't. So just a wee bit of history on that. When the Chinese arrived at the Tuapeka Goldfields in about 1867, I believe it was, and then the camp was set up because the Chinese people were banned, or was mostly males, were banned from the township of Lawrence. So they had to pay a poll tax to come out here. It started at about £10, I believe, and ended up being around £100 per person. So because they weren't allowed to live in Lawrence, the camp was formed, and then Dr. James Ning, who was the founder of this restoration project, he and the government of the day, which was Prime Minister Helen Clark, come to some arrangement, and this poll tax fund was formed, and it's overseen by people in Dunedin, and it looks after, I guess, Chinese interests throughout New Zealand, heritage Chinese interests, of which the Lawrence Chinese camp is one. You might know the Arrowtown, there's the Chinese Gardens, Lan Yuan and Dunedin, so it's really just something that's come from that, and it's probably unique in that regard because it's solely for Chinese associated projects.
Any further questions, Tony? Sorry, Councillor Graham.
Yeah, Roger, always a pleasure to speak to you, especially after Saturday's result. And you sort of halfway answered it, like for your funding and considering what happened with the Chinese Gardens in Dunedin. So that was funded from China, am I wrong? Partly.
There was, believe there were donations from there, but I can't speak on authority
Oh, right.
on the Chinese
So
Gardens,
has there
sorry.
ever been any thought of trying to get some funding out of or support from
Yes.
Chinese, right?
There's been a lot of thinking about it, but that doesn't make it happen, unfortunately. But the vision is to get, like, there's a lot of Chinese families that are coming back here, so the tourism thing, and they come to see where their forebears went. We find it in Gables Gully as well. People come back to see where their ancestors gold mined, because Gables Gully obviously was the biggest gold field, especially in our district. I can speak with authority on my own family. The Hay family had a 175-year reunion recently down at Awaka. And people come from all over the world back to that. So that sort of thing is happening. People come and look, and once they know and have interest, they probably will donate, but you've got to have something for them to see. But yes, those conversations have been had. The Chinese come through Hong Kong, so it's from their own province. So yeah, it happens, but yet to see results, I suppose.
I'm just sort of becoming aware that, councillors, just quickly, have any not been to the Chinese camp? Everyone's aware of it?
Am I allowed to say?
Yeah. No, that's fine. We should probably put it on the tour. There's something special about it, and I think Roger's being modest with his fundraising ability, because when I was there for Chinese New Year, he had some card game going that was sort of mysterious on how one person won and another lost, but there's certainly potential there for Roger to make a lot of money.
It was illegal.
Oh, sorry. No, that card game never took place.
Oh, it was all a bit of fun, actually.
And the media's gone home, surely.
Just in closing, team, this is like all committees in our district. We're a small committee. We work really, really hard, and we're just asking for a little bit of support. That's all. Simple as that.
Is there any further questions? Councillor Martin?
So, Rog, it's generally around the consenting process that you're looking for relief.
Yes, well, as you see in the submission, I think we can apply for up to $2,000 a year to get relief from the consent process. Well, this is 10, so we're asking you to look favourably upon that and maybe give us a little bit more.
Let's look 20 years in advance.
That's right, well, 10 anyway. Five.
Okay, team, questions further for Roger, or are we exhausted? Done. So thank you for that, Roger, and thanks for the work that you're doing. That technically brings an end to this session, but I'm just checking, I think Megan and Alan. Now, you are more than welcome if you're not prepared, but if you want to go now, you're certainly more than welcome to go as well, whichever one you prefer. So team Megan and Alan, the comms book, page 57. Sorry, is it on? Oh, yeah. Right, so, welcome, team, the floor's yours.
Thanks very much. I'm Alan. Megan has said we're Clutha Agility Dog Training Society. We started the society a year and a half ago. I'm president, Megan's secretary. And what we're looking for is the council have given us 3 months permission to use the old crockery ground. At the present, we can't use it because we've got no facility there to store any gear or make it our own and make it the ground to train on. So what we're looking for from the council is we would like to buy a container to store our gear and make it official ground that we can train and use. What we do for Clutha is we train dogs, we go to schools, we've been to the
AMP show
Yeah,
and showcased what we do as a society as
And
well.
We're here to help the community with dogs, train dogs, and like there's 4,000 people in Balclutha, and there's probably at least 1,500 dogs. So we don't charge for people to come and we give them training. They go away and like they'll bring a dog with problems, we help them. So we're there to work and help the community, but what we need is a container to get our society up and going and be established. So Megan, anything to say?
We also are a good way for people to get out there and exercise, socialise. We've got members from young to old in between. So it really brings people together. Some people are not there to just train their dogs. Some people are there for an outing because we've got a few retired members and things like that. So it's a good way to gather people together in our community, which is another thing we provide, not just the dog training side of things.
It's
which
good.
is a
It's
really
a good
good
place
thing.
to meet people and do stuff and have a laugh and get something off your chest. So, they take the mickey out of me, which is good.
So questions, team, councillor Barron, followed by Graham.
So, thank you. Is there a club, the Agility Club? Have you got members? Or is it just the two of you that do the work?
No, since we've started, we're not pushing it right at the moment because we're still working on the ground. We train at the AMP ground.
Yeah.
And people just arrive, they just turn up. We've got quite a few members, we hold meetings.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have members and meetings.
Yeah.
And like if you get hit by a bus tomorrow, does it fold? But there's other people that are.
Yeah, if I go down, it'll carry on.
Yeah, thank you.
Councillor Graham, followed by Finch.
Yeah, thank you. It's $5,000, is it the total cost of the container or is the club raised funds for it? Yes, no, the total cost is 5,000. We've put money in ourselves for gear. We've got a tunnel alone is $1,000, and we're working. We've got quite a bit of gear we've put together ourselves, but it's container is our biggest cost to make this work. At the moment, we're training, as I say, out of the AMP, and they're real keen for us to stay there, but we really need to publicise ourselves on that road where the croquet court is, and it's really going to make us take off and be a good community thing forever and a day. With like the amount of dogs that are around Balclutha and the amount of dogs that aren't trained, people don't know how to train them. But if they come along to us, we can sort of fix them quite quick. But, you know, they just walk them around banks and things like that, which is fine.
It just it provides an alternative
Yeah.
because not all dogs benefit from just a walk. This is a way for them to exercise in a safe way. Some dogs that come to us, they don't have good recall, so we ask the owners to keep them on the lead the whole time for their safety and ours as well. And they're still able to access that exercise when they may not be able to let their dog off at the local dog park because it may not have the greatest recall. Or
Just for example, like Megan's got a Dalmatian, and she come to me, and like when she let the dog off, it used to run away and sort of have a look at other dogs and carry on. And now, with under 12 months, she's been to 2 shows and she's got 2 third places. Well, you know, there's not many, like there's a lot of people go to shows for 3 years and don't even get a clear round, and she's had 2 ribbons. So it goes to show you, you can't do it if you want to do it. And this is what I want to go to school and teach children how to manage dogs and, you know, that sort of thing. So I've been to schools in other provinces, and it's unbelievable that, you know, what you get back.
Thank you. So you're a dog whisperer. Yeah.
Well, I've done 2 years of training. I've hardly ever come away from a show without a ribbon. So I've been lucky, but I use my dogs on the farm, so I've got an advantage over them to start off.
Well done. Okay.
Councillor Finch, followed by Lundeman.
Thank you. I used to go through to Tyree, and so I always had to pay a subscription, as with most clubs do. Have you considered doing that?
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
So you will be doing that in the future?
Absolutely.
And have you got official training?
Official training.
You yourself, qualifications, sorry.
Well, 30 years of it, but I don't know whether you call it a qualification or not, but I can train people, and so can my wife.
Yeah, that's fine, that's really great. So then those 20 members, are there going to be any other contributions from them towards the container?
Not at this stage. The money we've been putting in has been putting in for getting gear so we can train and yeah.
Yeah, so you've had some made locally because it doesn't cost much to get, like you said, your jumps and things like that. So you've done
we're
it.
getting
Our
local
weaves
gear.
have been made locally.
Yeah, our weaves have been made locally, and we've had 1 or 2 pieces donated to us from other clubs.
Yeah.
So plus, I've had a lot of my own gear that I'm using.
Yeah.
But it's just the only thing that's holding us back is the container. But I'm hoping to do a load of firewood shortly and sell it at the supermarkets, run a raffle.
Well done, yes.
Things like that.
Just to keep things going.
Yeah.
So over winter, what are you going to do when it rains? Have you got a place to go inside?
No. We can't train if it rains because we're outside on the grass.
So are there any plans to be able to have somewhere for inside in the future?
No, you don't need to train inside. Like, we're lucky if we can get this grant. Like at the moment, we can go to the AMP and train anytime we like. So if it's fine, like if I'm going to a competition, I'll train on a Friday afternoon
Yes.
or something like that.
But for your members, when you have a set night, if it's raining and you haven't got an inside thing, what happens then?
No,
You just cancel it?
yeah, cancel it.
We are still currently training as well.
Yeah,
with
we'll
the
train
various
right through. We'll train right through until the weather's too bad that we can't. But as far as the council goes, as with the dog, the what do you call the dog person in the council, the,
Dog control.
yeah, dog control person, like, if they get unruly dogs, you know, they should be talking to us instead of fines or whatever, you know, it'd be good if the council come along or the lady from the. who come
Have
and see
you rung
us.
up and suggested that? Because that, you're quite welcome to ring up and say,
Yes.
thank you very much for that.
Councillor Ludeman.
I just want to ask a quick, I mean, you note that the AMP Society are quite happy for you to use their shed and everything. And the comment was that you wanted the container as signage. Would it not be a cheaper option to continue using the AMP facilities and just have a sign out on that part there or just do some general advertising of as far as cost wise? I mean, obviously, if the big AMP showgrounds are available.
What restricts us with the AMP showgrounds is it's a fantastic grounds. The only thing is the space. If you go to an agility competition, there is.
It's 30 by 40 as a ground, and that where we're training, it's not big enough. Okay, we've got the shed. Not only that, as soon as it gets wet, we can't drive in there, and you can't unload dogs on a road. It's not feasible. It's unsafe. And if we can, we can drive in front of the rec centre, that's fine. And not only that, the dogs are secure in there. But that's a ground. When you're with somebody else, it's totally different, because there's always somebody there that says, you know, you're not doing this or you're not doing that. But if you've got your own ground and you look after your own ground and have that, you're set for life. But who knows what's going to happen with the AMP? You know, we don't know. They've given us permission to use that in writing, but we would like very much to have that croquet ground, and it's not being used. And the schools can walk to that ground and see us. We can put a demonstration, and I'm prepared to take the trailer with the loaded gear to Kaitangata, to the school there, or Lawrence, or whatever. Give them a demonstration of dogs and tell them how to train dogs and use dogs and that sort of thing.
So is the croquet ground fenced?
In the front, it is. Only one side is not fenced, but that doesn't matter.
It's, well, by not being fenced, is it safe with the ones that are going to the rec centre? And then beside it?
The rec centre don't go in there where the ground is. They go around there. It's, the only thing you've got to do is leave a pathway. If there's an accident, the ambulance has got to get in there. I understand that. I've talked to them about it. It's all good.
Councillor Parker.
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. Welcome, guys, and well done, team. I think this is good. And a couple of questions have just been answered for me that I had, but one other question I did have was perhaps it's all very well getting the container out. There might be a couple of wee steps you've missed with council, relocation and what you've got to do to put it in place. I'm not sure whether you approach council about that. I don't think it's just a case of dumping it on a piece of grass and walking away. But again, John will be able to run that. So, yeah, I don't know.
Talked to Lily about it, and Lily has been in contact with the council. And we said it's got to be tidy and in a good condition and that thing. But we take pride in what we do, so we like to look after and cut the grass around it and that sort of thing. Yes. No, Lily's been a big help to us, so we appreciate
Yeah,
it.
we've been very, very lucky.
Yeah.
You went to the top. Councillor Finn.
Thank you. I forgot to ask you, have you actually applied already to the Community Trust, Otago Community Trust, Aotea Gaming Trust, donations, lotto, licensing trust? Have you already applied?
Colleen, we're in contact with Colleen, and she said we were hoping to get a container through her, but after we've put in all the submissions and done everything right, she said, no, we can't go for a container, but we can go for $1,000, and that was it.
Which one was that through?
That was through the Lottos
Yeah,
Commission.
Lotto. Colleen.
And the other areas, that's what we hope to apply for.
You haven't put in for it yet?
No, not quite yet.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, oh, councillor Bill Wheeler.
Thank you, and thank you, team. Just with that, applying for that funding, is that funding to be used for other purposes? You mentioned use equipment.
So sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. So Alan, as Alan said, he has bought all of his jumps and everything to, as a compilation of all our gear. So we'd really like to purchase some as a society rather than have Alan's gear, just Alan's gear, because then that forbids him, prohibits him from training at home with his own dogs. So, yeah.
How much roughly would you be wanting to spend on gear?
Well, we're not interested in spending money on gear. We've got enough to do what we want to do. It's in fact, the containers are our biggest problem. Without that, we can't move from where we want to be. We want to be in that ground. We've talked to our people and they've said, yes, we love that ground. That ground suits us, whereas the AMP at the moment suits us at the present. It's not a given, it's not a future for us.
So that funding then that's just been mentioned, that is, that you're applying for these other organisations is also for the container?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, take, oh, councillor Martin.
Thanks, guys. Really interesting presentation, and it's great that you made the effort to come and talk about it because I've never heard of it before myself. But so, how big's your spread of your current members throughout the district? Like, is it virtually Clutha or?
No, it's Lawrence, it's Milton, Egan's from Milton, Clinton. Yeah, it's not just Clutha.
Yeah.
Which is good. And I think the spread's that wide because agility dog training, you have it in Mosgiel, so that's a half an hour drive, well, from Milton anyway. And then there's one based in Invercargill, so anything in between is, well, there's nothing. So a couple of years ago, I was travelling to Dunedin. That didn't work out because it was an hour. And they train at night time. And then I'll travel to Mosgiel. But again, a half an hour drive after finishing a whole long day of work, not really suitable. So this is a good way for us to have something local.
It's not all about agility, it's about the big community. It's about us helping the community with dogs.
Oh, certainly, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And I get a big kick out of somebody bringing a dog along, I can fix it. I'm not a whisperer, but I can.
Yeah. Just another question. How do people find out about this? Do you advertise or?
No, I haven't bothered at the moment because the facility's not real good where we are.
So that's holding you back?
Yeah.
That is
I don't want to push it.
Right.
Like I go to the dog park, I never ever take a dog there, but I'll go to the dog park if I'm in town and see who's got a dog there. And I'll say to them, oh yeah, what can you do with your dog? I can't let it out of this park, or it's gone. But I said, well, bring it down to training. Yep, come. When do you train Sunday? They never turn up. You can talk to you blow in the face, you know. Oh. But if people are interested, they'll find out that the vets do a lot for us. They send people our way when that we don't really need to advertise. But if we get this ground going and we can contain it, yes, I'll do a 6-week course every week, 6 weeks. I'll do a course. I'll advertise it. Domestic training, not agility training, but domestic training for people with dogs. Like a lady says to me, how do I stop my dog barking? You know, she says, oh, the neighbour upsets her. And all this sort of stuff. This goes on and on and on. You know, it's dogs.
Right, our team, any further questioning? Thank you for your presentation.
Thanks.
No idea. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good idea.
Where are you using that?
Team, that brings to a close this session, so we'll adjourn the meeting again. We're going to